Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be showing you how you can calculate your own macronutrients. So whether you're looking to cut, bulk, or if you think you're sexy enough already, how to maintain your sexy self. Okay, so we're going to be calculating how many calories you need to be consuming per day to achieve this goal. So no more messing about, let's get straight into it. So guys, the first thing we need to do when it comes to calculating our macros is we need to work out what our resting energy expenditure is. So what our resting energy expenditure is, or REE, it is the amount of calories or the energy that our body burns and uses just for cell regeneration, for your organs to work, and for you to breathe, and for your hair to grow. It's just literally just to survive. That's just, we would just sit there do absolutely nothing. It's your resting metabolic rate, your RMR, REE. It's the same thing. So that's the first thing you need to do, and then from that we can calculate what our TDEE is, which is your total daily energy expenditure. And what that is the amount of calories you need to consume per day, including your activity level. The way we're going to do this is we're going to use the Mifflin formula. It's the most respected, the most backed, and it is actually the most accurate equation when it comes to working out your REE. So here it is. What we have, 10 times your body weight in kilograms, 77 kilos, okay? Plus 6.25 times your height in centimeters, 180 centimeters. Then we're going to minus 5 times your age in years, and then plus 5 if you're a male, minus 161 if you're female. And then what you're going to get from that is you're going to get your resting energy expenditure. So 1,780 calories is how many calories I need to consume per day to survive. But obviously I do a lot more than just breathe. I mean, all of us do a lot more than just breathe. Even if it's just to walk to the shop once a day, you're still doing more than just breathing, right? So we have to work out our total daily energy expenditure, and to do that we have to decide how active we are. So we have 4 to choose from. We've got 4 to choose from. So we have not active, someone that just has an office job, doesn't really do anything, just goes to work, and that's pretty much it. We have semi-active, that's someone that kind of does a little bit, has a bit more of an active job, still doesn't really exercise, but maybe they like stack shelves. Or they could go to the gym. It's basically someone that burns, for a female, 200 to 400 calories extra per day, and for a guy about 250 to 500 calories per day. Active, that is someone that has a bit more of a physical job, like I said for the last one, for the not very active, but on top of that they're exercising, so they're exerting themselves, they're putting their body through extra stress, so they're going to need extra calories to obviously compensate for that. So they'll be burning an extra 400 to 650 calories per day for girls, and say 500 to 800 calories a day for guys. Okay, so that's active. And then very active, that's someone that has a very physical job, and on top of that they're training hard, like 6 days a week. And yeah, so for a guy they're burning 800 calories plus a day, and for a girl they're burning 650 calories plus per day. So basically, whichever one of these you are, you're going to times your resting energy expenditure by that. So me, myself, yeah, I'm active. I go to the gym like most days. Like people that follow me, you know that. And if you don't follow me, get my Instagram. But yeah, so like I go to the gym most days, but when I'm not in the gym, I'm not exerting myself when I'm not in the gym. So I'll put myself active. So I'm going to times my REE by 155. So now I have got my total daily energy expenditure. So what I did the formula, which gave me my resting energy expenditure, which is 1,780 calories. And I decided that I'm active. I'm not very active at this moment in time. There are times where I am very active and I will increase my calories when it comes to that point, but at this moment in time, I'm not. So I'm going to say, and I'm active. So I times my resting energy expenditure by 155, and that gave me 2,759 calories. So that is my total daily energy expenditure. That is the amount of calories I need to consume a day to make sure I'm not losing weight, not gaining weight. That's my maintenance calories. Right, so now we know how many calories we need to consume per day to maintain our current maintain our current body weight. We can now start to manipulate that figure to then reach whatever goal it is that we're trying to achieve. So I'm going to start with a cut, but if you're only interested in bulking, then skip forward to this time, and if you just want to maintain, go to this time. But right now, we're going to cut, so let's get to it. Hey little man. Gym cat. So, when you're in a cut, you need to make sure that you're in a calorie deficit. If you're not in a calorie deficit, then you're not going to be losing any weight. Being in a calorie deficit is basically you're consuming less calories than you are burning. What we need to do, we need to get our TDEE, which is 2,759, and I'm going to put myself into a 20% calorie deficit. So that 2,207 calories, that is my cutting calories. So now let's split that into our protein, our fats, and our carbohydrates. We're going to start with protein. So we need 2.7 to 3.1 grams per kilo of body weight. But we're going to go smack bang in the middle, 2.9 grams per kilo of my body weight. So I'm going to be times 77. So that now is the amount of protein that I'm going to be consuming, but I'm going to scrap that 3. 1 gram of protein equals 4 calories. Same as carbohydrates, but then fat is 9 calories per gram. So what we're going to do now is going to times the amount of protein that we're eating by 4, just to calculate how many calories per day is coming from protein. You'll see why in a minute. 223 grams, and that's the amount of calories that it is. I forgot to mention that the scale from 2.7 to 3.1 grams of protein per body weight, how to place yourself on that scale is, if you're carrying a bit more excess body fat, you are going to tend to be a bit lower on the scale, whereas if someone's got a higher lean body mass, they will be higher up the scale. I've put myself in the middle there because I am currently in a bit of a bulking phase. And I mean, I'm relatively lean, but okay, now I'm leaner than I expected. You hit me at a good time. But yeah, so yeah, your lean body mass, if you've got a high lean body mass, you're going to need a higher protein in your diet. Whereas if you're carrying a bit more excess body fat, then you can be a bit lower on the scale. When it comes to macros, there's no kind of, this is exactly how it should be. If you don't have it like this, you're not going to achieve anything. It's not like that. It's about sustainability. It's about creating a diet for yourself that you know you're going to be able to stick to at the end of the day. Working out your macros, yeah, that's the first step, but then it still takes weeks, months, even years to kind of figure out what actually works for you. About 20 to 30% of your daily intake is going to come from fats. So when it comes to deciding again where you're going to fit yourself on that scale, it just depends on your personal preference. It's the way I look at it is, when you're working out or anything, where do you want your energy to come from? I prefer my energy to come from carbohydrates, so I tend to keep my for this I'm going to put myself at 25%, because then it keeps my carbs still a little bit higher. So I know when I go to the gym, I'm going to be a little bit more fueled. I'm going to get a bit more of a pump still, which obviously pump is life. So yeah, I tend to have my fat not too high, just so I can consume a bit more carbohydrates, because I prefer to be full. I prefer to feel a bit more full, whereas some people rather have a higher fat intake because it reduces bloating, it gets rid of water, and you do see results quicker when you drastically reduce your carb intake. and then we're taking them away completely and getting yourself to ketosis. But that's a whole other story. That's a completely different video, which I'll do for you guys another time if you would like to. But yeah, so 20 to 30%, but I'm gonna do 25% of 2207. Right, so now that's the amount of calories that we're going to be having. So not the grams. You're not consuming 551 grams of fat on a cut. Trust, you're not going to be doing that. So that's the amount of calories, because all we've done is we've got 25% of our total daily energy expenditure. So what we need to do now is turn that into our grams of fat. Like I said earlier, per 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide that by 9, and that's going to give us 61 grams of fat. And that is what we will consume for our fat. So now we've got our 223 grams of protein, we've got 61 grams of fat. Now finally, we're gonna work out our carbohydrates, okay? So how we do that, it's nice and simple. It's just whatever calories we have left. So what we do, we just add the calories from our fat and protein together, and then just subtract that from our total daily intake. So 892, which is our calories from protein. We've now got 549, which is our calories from fat. We're gonna minus that from our total calorie intake from the day, which is 2,207. 766 calories for our carbohydrates. But to get our grams of carbs, we need to divide it by 4. 766 divided by 4 equals, we'll just scrap that 5. So 191. 191 grams of carbs. So that leaves our total daily macros on our cut: 223 grams of protein, we have 61 grams of fat, and we have 191 grams of carbohydrates. So those are our macros for our cutting diet. Okay? So now, moving on to our bulk. So guys, welcome to the bulking macros. Now we're going to be working out the macros we need to be consuming per day in order to be gaining weight and getting that extra muscle performance and muscle growth. Okay, so here we go. Here is bulking, not sulking. First thing to do when it comes to bulking, we need to make sure we are in a calorie surplus. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our TDEE, which is 2759 in this example, or whatever yours is that you've worked out from the beginning of the video. And we're going to put ourselves into a 20% surplus. But it's best to go from a 10 to 12% surplus for a couple of weeks and then go to a 20% surplus, because if you go too high too quick, it's just going to lead to unnecessary fat gain, which, if you're not too bothered about that, then no sweat. If that's something you want to try to avoid, maybe do a 12.5% surplus, see how that goes for a couple of weeks, and then go up to the 20%. But for this purpose of this video, I'm just going to go straight to 20%. So 3,311 calories is our total daily calories on this bulk. Okay, so that is the amount of calories we need to be consuming every single day to make sure we are gaining weight. So, nailed it. What we need to do now is we need to split that into our protein, fats, and into our carbohydrates. Let's go. So when we're bulking, we don't actually need as much protein as we do when we're cutting. We still need protein. Protein is absolutely essential when it comes to building muscle, but it's just we don't need as much of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our body weight, and we're going to have 2 to 2.7 grams of protein per kilo of body weight. Once again, just like I said with the cut, if you're coming straight from a leaner phase, say 10 to 12% surplus, and over the weeks increase that, and you keep your protein high and gradually decrease it down, just because gradually let the body adjust, and then life will be gravy. I'm just putting myself smack bang in the middle, 2.35 grams per body weight. Yeah, so we'll run that up to 181 just because, and like we did with the cut, we're going to times that by 4 to calculate how many calories that is, just so later on when we calculate our carbs, we've already sorted that out. Okay, so that is the amount of protein that we'll be consuming. 181 grams of protein per day, and that is the amount of calories that is coming from the protein. So now we're going to do our fats. So when it comes to doing your fat, you need to decide how much you can actually physically eat. If you're someone that can't kind of stomach much food, I'd recommend having a fire. I'd recommend having a fire because I mean that will sort it right out. Now, if you're struggling to consume a lot of food, I'd recommend having a higher fat intake because, like I said, you've got 9 calories per 1 gram of fat, whereas you've only got 4 calories per 1 gram of carbohydrate. So you can consume a lot more calories from fats than you can from carbohydrates. Like, I've sat there and destroyed a tub of peanut butter with a spoon before, and then I looked at it and realised how many calories I consumed, and it was just absolutely diabolical. And I could still eat more. Do you know what I mean? Whereas you eat like a decent sized potato, but I'd feel a lot more full than eating a big sized potato than I would from eating like a jar of peanut butter. But that potato is nowhere near the same amount of calories than a fucking jar of peanut butter is. I love peanut butter, but man. So basically, without me going on a tangent about me munching on peanut butter, basically, long story short, have a higher fat intake if you are struggling to eat more carbohydrates. But if you don't have a trouble when it comes to consuming food, happy days, skyrocket those carbohydrates and have a good old time with that. So I'm going to put myself in the middle. I'm going to say 25% again, just because that's kind of like a sweet spot for me and I know that works. So what we're going to do 25% of our daily calories. So that is the amount of calories that we'll be getting from our fat. So now we need to work out how many grams of fat that actually is. So we're going to divide that by 9. So we're going to round that up to 92. Then we're going to times that again by 9 just to see how many calories that is. So we've got 92 grams of fat in our diet, and that 92 grams is equal to 828 calories. So last but not least, we're working out our carbohydrates. So just the same as our cut, it's just whatever calories we have left. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our calories from our fat and our protein, add them together, subtract that from our total intake of the day. So that's the amount of calories we'll be consuming from our carbohydrates on a day-to-day basis, but we want to know how many grams to eat, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to divide that by 4. 439.75, but we'll round that up to 440. Right, so guys, now we have calculated our bulking macros. So what we have is we have 181 grams of protein, 92 grams of fat, and 440 grams of carbohydrates. Like I said, if you do struggle to consume 440 grams of carbohydrates, you can increase your fat intake because it will help you reach your calorie needs without feeling as bloated. So yeah, that's that. Welcome to maintaining our sexy selves. So what we're going to do is we're going to do our protein first, and our protein intake for maintenance. If you're more lean, you're going to have a higher protein intake, and if you're carrying a bit more excess body fat, you're going to have a lot less. You're going to be near the bottom of the scale, right? So the scale for maintenance is going to be 2.3 to 3.1 grams per kilogram of body weight. Okay, so I'm going to put myself in the middle. In the middle, 2.7 times 77 equal, and we'll just round that up to 208. That's the amount of grams of protein that we're going to be consuming, but we need to work out how many calories as well, just so it helps us out with our carbohydrates later. So what we're going to do is we're going to times that by 4. So that's our protein. Bosh, sorted. Now we're going to move on to our fats. We have either 20 to 30%, but I'm doing 25 of our total daily energy expenditure that we worked out right at the start. Oh, you're soaking, man. It's the only wet pussy that's been in this room for a long time. I can't believe I even cringed at myself when I said that. And that's a prime example why. Anyway, moving on from that. Oscar loves climbing on my clothes area, and I'm currently using my clothes area as like a Oscar. I'm using the clothes area as like my tripod because I need it to be high and I'm only using my phone to film this. I'll get the mirror and I'll show you. Can you see it? Is this working? Is it working? The struggle is real, but hey, we make it work. But yeah, he loves using that thing as a climbing frame. Yeah, and also, he's soaking wet, and I've still got my clothes on there drying. Man, I need to get out more. I need to get out. I need to, yeah. 689 calories from our fat. So we need to divide that by 9 to get 76.6 grams of fat, but we're just going to round it up to 77. Carbohydrates. So yeah, to get our carbohydrates, what we need to do is we need to get our calories from our fats and from our protein, add them together and subtract that from our total daily energy expenditure. Let's go. So we've got our 8, 3, 2 from our protein, and from our fat, because we rounded that up, we need to times that by 9 again. 6, 9, 3, so that's the calories from our fat intake. So now we need to minus that from our total daily energy expenditure. So that gives us 1,234 calories from carbohydrates. But we need to work out how many grams we get from that. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide that by 4. So that leaves us with 208 grams of protein, 77 grams of fat, and 308 grams of carbohydrates. So that concludes the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it wasn't too confusing and I made it as straightforward as I possibly could, and I hope it wasn't too long for you guys. Please like the channel and subscribe. I've got plenty more videos coming up for you guys, and also if there's anything that you want to see, if you want me to do anything for you guys, if anything you want me to explain, or if you just want me to do something, let me know, just so I can give the people what they want. And please leave a comment below, let me know what you thought of the video, what you thought was good, what you thought was bad, and it helps me grow and get better. And finally, please, if you have any questions or anything like that to do with macros or anything like that, please just leave a comment down below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Or just message me or anything like that, because I'm happy to help. That is why I'm making these videos, it's because I want to help you guys out, okay? So don't be afraid to ask questions, because that is the whole point I'm doing this. Alright, so have a good one, guys. Take care.